Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So, today, what I want to do is I want to talk about the most expensive Charizard cards. And I started doing a bunch of research into the most expensive Charizard cards. And oh my word, I went down a rabbit hole and it got a little bit awkward. First thing to note, right, if you're trying to find the price of Charizard cards, if you're looking at old cards, honestly, the price is all over the place. Whether they're graded or not, what condition they're in, what day of the week it is, where Jupiter is in comparison to Mercury, all of these things affect the price of Charizard on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to give you some extremely rough prices in this video, but don't hold me too accountable for those, alright? Because seriously, the prices are all over the place. You've then also got the fact that there are approximately 1 billion Charizard cards out there. So one of the biggest ones, comes in at about $4.75 at the moment, is the Play Pokémon prize packs stamped Charizard Vmax. And because it's a recent card with lots of sales, pretty much all of which were mint cards, this is one of the ones where I actually feel really good about the value. This is a $475 card. I could find a bunch of mint Charizard that had sold recently, and I could average them all out, and I'm like, you know what? This is actually the price. This is what Charizard actually costs. This is amazing. Shout out to TCG Player for helping me with the prices, but also eBay and Facebook and a million other places, and honestly, they did not narrow it down that much. But certainly for this one, it was easy. There were other ones like the Evolutions pre-release Charizard, as an example. Now, for those of you that don't know, Evolutions was a set that came around a little while ago, and because it's a more recent set, we had pre-releases for it. And we had the build and battle kits. And we had pre-release promos. Lovely. One of them was Charizard. And obviously, it's a Charizard, it's a pre-release promo, so oh my word, it got very silly very quickly. My best guess for this one is about $580. I wanted to round it up to $6, but that's not really what it's going for at the moment. It's going for about $580. But this is another one of those where we can sit down and we can look at it, and we've got a lot of recent sales, and we got a lot that have actually sold, and they're verifiable, and they're near mint, and that's all lovely. But just like the Play Pokemon stamped Charizard is only available in packs given out when you go to your league and get these packs, this is only available in pre-release kits for Evolutions. So is it really fair to use this in the best or the most valuable Charizard, given that it's not actually available in a pack? And I think the answer is probably no. So I'm trying to stick to Charizard cards that can actually be found in packs, and it is a little all over the place, but if nothing else, let's take a little trip down memory lane. Now, one I want to shout out here is the Plasma Storm Secret Rare Charizard. I love this card. And this is just an ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill Charizard. Now, it's a secret rare and it's all fancy and it's a shiny version of it, etc. But it's not an EX or a V or any of that. It's just, hey, we did Charizard, we reprinted this Charizard, but you know what? We made it shiny and put it all hollow and just wrecked the pull rates, really pulled the pull rates down. And I was playing around this time and it was really fun. I loved it. It was awesome. This was lovely. The pull rates were low, frankly. I'm going to be honest with you. This was one of those ones with very low pull rates. These were not kind of one per box. There were a bunch of these kind of cards around in these older sets. And it was a case of, you know what? They're very rare and the pull rates are very low. But oh my word, the excitement when you actually pulled one of these. And there were a bunch of different ones that were available, but let's make no bones about it. Charizard of all of these ones was by far the best among them. And that's where we got. And it was awesome. And I loved it. So yeah, this Charizard, and my best guess for this one is about $600. Again, it's not recent, let's be clear. It's really not recent. Like, I told you it's a Plasma Storm card. Plasma Storm came out in 2013, February 2013. So this card's almost 11 years old at this point. But it's still what I think of as kind of the modern era-ish. So it's still easier to find prices than a lot of the ones on this list. So, very tentative list, let's be clear, but in at number 5, Charizard EX from EX Fire Red and Leaf Green. Now, I've got this down at $6.50, which seems honestly a bit cheap to me. Again, the condition here is going to affect this a lot. It's hard to find raw versions of this card that are being sold that are near mint. Generally speaking, we're talking about they're, lightly played or below, or they're graded. Most of these Charizard EX cards aren't actually sold as just mint raw cards. All right? I've warned you. I've told you. Okay? You've been told. But this was from EX Fire Red and Leaf Green. This was one of the Gen 3 sets right back in the day. And this is a very old set. And it's Charizard EX. Now, one of the things which I think is kind of important here, this is back in the day where we didn't have full arts and all of that. So when you're looking at, what was the best pull to get from this set, it was the EXs. That's what we had. It wasn't a set that was full of full arts and all of that. The big kind of headline cards were just your regular EXs. There weren't 6 different types of EXs. That's what we've got. Oh, shout out to Bulbapedia, which is where I got the booster pack images from and looked up some of the information. Bulbapedia is a very useful resource. So, you know what? This is kind of cool. And it's weird that a regular EX would be on this list, but regular EXs back then really is not the same as regular EXs as they are nowadays. Things are very, very different. This set came out in April 2004, if anybody's wondering. In at number 4, we've got the first edition Blaine's Charizard from the Gym Challenge set, which I'm putting at $750. And yes, I know that first edition cards are not exactly available everywhere, but I'm fine with counting first edition. I'm not fine with counting pre-release promos. There's a difference between them, all right? There is a difference. I'm putting this at $750 for what it's worth. Although, again, this set came out in the year 2000. So all of these cards are 23 years old at this stage. So just please bear that in mind, because you're not seeing lots of mint raw versions of these cards being sold. It's just not happening. Also, as a side note, this was back when holos were the best you could pull. Like, the best you could do here was pulling a holo. So you'd pull this holo Charizard and you're like, oh, cool. This is amazing. Because just a regular holo, it's weird. Like, it used to be that regular holos were the absolute best thing to pull. And then we moved on, and all of a sudden it was, regular EXs. And now regular EXs are like bulk cards, because you need to pull the special illustration rare to even have a chance of a card, which is particularly sought after. It's funny how things change. In at number 3, I'm giving you the Charizard Gold Star from Dragon Frontiers, which I'm tentatively putting at about £1,000. Again, I'm talking here about a pretty tidy, ungraded copy. So we're going for, what if they weren't graded? What if you pulled it from a pack and it was just in good condition? Now, of course, Charizard Gold Star came from Dragon Frontiers, and Dragon Frontiers is... well, it's not a recent set, okay? Came around in 2006, so you're talking a set which is 17 years old at this stage. And we've got Charizard Gold Star. And it's kind of awesome. Now, obviously, it's getting beyond a bit like a regular EX or any of that at this stage, right? We are actually going beyond regular EX or regular holo, and this is actually a proper Gold Star card. And the pull rates for these were very, 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 very low. You've been warned, ladies and gentlemen, these had extremely low pull rates. And even amongst them, Charizard is by far the most sought after, and it's one of those things where it looks really rare, but it actually is almost artificially rare because people that got the Charizard, they just didn't sell it. Whereas the Mew Star, which came out in the exact same set, is generally seen as a bit less rare, when I would be incredibly confident in predicting that the pull rates of the Mew Star and the Charizard Star were literally exactly the same, but the Charizard was just more sought after than the Mew, so it just seemed harder to get hold of. In at number 2, we've got the Crystal Charizard from Skyridge, and yeah, we're getting into sillier territory here. We're $1,200. And here's the thing, right? These crystal Pokemon, not unlike the gold stars I just mentioned, the pull rates on these were horrendously low. And in Skyridge alone, there were 6 crystal Pokemon. And they had very low pull rates, and there were 6 of them. So basically, you had to pull a crystal, hard to do, and even then you only had a 1 in 6 chance of it being Charizard, and obviously Charizard was the one that everybody wanted. This was one of the ones that everybody was just absolutely desperate to get hold of. And there's essentially your answer. And it is beautiful. This is, like, there's a lot of iconic Charizard cards, right? I think that's fair to say. Even in the pantheon of, oh my word, Charizard's had a bunch of iconic cards, this is particularly iconic. This is particularly awesome. People love this. This was cool. And Skyridge, Skyridge is not a recent set. Came around in 2003. The set's 20 years old at this point. One of the fun things about Skyridge is that for a while this was being, if you talk to older players, they'll back me up on this. There was a period of time where Skyridge kept being given out as prizes at tournaments. And people were getting really kind of bored and annoyed because it's always Skyridge and I don't want Skyridge. And oh my word, I went to an auction the other day and you should have seen the price a complete set of Skyridge went for. Absurd. Skyridge is now one of the sought after sets in the Pokemon TCG. And there was a time when people were complaining that, oh, more Skyridge given out as prizes at tournaments. Boo! Can't we get something that isn't Skyridge? Ah. And then obviously number 1, it's a first edition Charizard, yeah, from base set. You know that, right? You're looking at about 1,500 here-ish. Seriously, these prices are an absolute pain, all right? I've already told you that. So, yeah. There we go. It's base set Charizard. It is absolutely iconic. At this stage, there's very little to add. It was, the first set of cards. And it's Charizard. And everybody loves Charizard. And it kind of really is as simple as that. People adore Charizard. And this isn't just the iconic Charizard card. This is the iconic Pokemon card. Now, this is a part of the video where a bunch of people are sitting there going, Wossy, 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 Wossy. You've just counted down your top 5. You didn't put Shining Charizard from Neo Destiny in there. What's going on? Where is Shining Charizard from Neo Destiny? And the answer is, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it deserves to be on this list. But of all the cards where the price is just completely all over the place, this is completely all over the place. I've seen this selling for a couple of hundred, honestly, and I've seen it selling for well over $1,000. According to TCG Player, there was a near mint that sold for $1,400 and a near mint that sold for $300. The prices for this Shining Charizard is just all over the place, and it's honestly driving me a little bit crazy. So I figured, you know what we'll do? We'll do the list. And then at the end of the list, I'll just be like, I don't know what to do with Neo Destiny Shining Charizard, except to tell you that I'm pretty sure it should be on the list, and I don't know. If anybody can put together a comprehensive list of prices for these cards, do let me know. But I also want to remind you, I did an auction for the Pokemon TCG recently, and I was chatting to people who were putting together list prices for cards that are like 20 years old, these kind of cards. And I'm telling you right now, they did not find it easy, and the prices were a little bit all over the place, and there were times where the list price for a card was wildly off what it actually sold for. So when I tell you that the prices here are a little all over the place, they are. Over the past couple of days, I've done a bunch of looking into this, and the best I can tell you is, oh my word, the prices are all over the place. I'm sorry. Right, there we go. There's the top 5, really 6 Pokemon Charizard cards in terms of ones you're going to be pulling from packs. But like I say, it's a little bit all over the place. If there are any ones you want to give a shout out to, let me know in the comment section. But for now, tell me which is your favourite. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And actually get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Mary Sanders Lazenby, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.